Hi, welcome. I'm delighted to be introducing to you today Xenia Schembri. She's an author of Brave Little Bear, and she's got her second book on its way out in the market. She's also the co-founder of The Ark, a service specifically designed for parents and families, those impacted by child sexual abuse. She's also an associate pastor. So here we are with the accomplished woman, but actually she has a remarkable story because she's had quite a big journey in terms of walking through trauma herself as an individual and also as a parent of children who are sexually abused. So we're going to be talking with Xenia about her life journey, but also we'll be talking about her services and the books that she's written. So welcome.
Thank you.
So tell me, what happened in your life journey that sort of brought you to this road where you are now?
Well, it all starts, I suppose, at the very beginning when I was a child. My real dad was an alcoholic, and he didn't want anything to do with me and my mom, so I thought. And my mom eventually got remarried, and my stepfather adopted me. But all this whole process, I believed I wasn't good enough. I wasn't good enough for my real father to love. And I carried that burden for many, many years of my life. And because of that, I made some really silly decisions that really made an outcome that I had to walk through a journey where trauma was quite impactful on my life. I ended up marrying a young man he was quite funny, quite quirky, and I thought he was quite humorous for many years. And then we eventually got married, and I realised that those funny, quirky, weird behaviours weren't actually quite so funny after all. In fact, they were quite destructive, and he ended up abusing me physically, emotionally, sexually, verbally, and even spiritually. And I felt like I was not a woman. In fact, when I left the relationship eventually after 15 years of marriage and many affairs over the years that he had against me, I just said, how I explain it is that I felt like a woman without a womanhood, because he was so controlling that I had no way of knowing who I was. I was 19 when I married him, and I was very young anyway, and you don't really know who you are at 19. And over the years, this kind of mould that I had become was not who I actually was and who I meant to be. And eventually after another affair, I gave him the choice, either this woman or me. And eventually he chose the other woman, but he wasn't going to let me go lightly. And he, in fact, he bought me a wedding ring whilst he was dating this other woman. On our wedding anniversary, he took her out for dinner, but the night before he took me out for dinner, and he gave me this wedding ring to say, I want you to know that you will always be married to me. I don't care what you think, you're always going to be married to me. And that was a long journey through that to have release from me. I didn't know how I was ever going to get through that. And I contemplated suicide, and I was very serious about it. And it was a whole new journey of where I was going to go with this. Do I live with this man and just accept that was that for the rest of my life, or do I stand up and do something completely different and make new changes in my life? Fortunately, my ex-husband actually made the decision and said that he thought it was time to split up. But it was all in his control. We'd split up, but it would be like one family in two houses, and, it'd be okay if he came to my house and did all, and he would still be part of my life and part of my kids' lives. And that wasn't how I could live. you know, but that was the way he still had his control on me and my family and his children, and many years of this kind of crazy control meant that when I got to this stage, that I was like, okay, whatever, I'll do anything, just get out of my life, you know. So for me, this was that distance was helping me make a little bit of change, and eventually I found my independence, and I quite liked this idea of me not being married to him and not having him control my life. And eventually I was able to come to a position where I was free, and I have to say, for me, it was my faith in God. He changed my life completely, and I was able to then make a decision and be able to move out of my life with my ex-husband.
It's a remarkable story, and I think it's very inspiring and encouraging, especially for women who may be in very abusive, controlling relationships. You know, that there is a road out, and you know, your story is very hopeful.